welcome back to the channel. We are still at volume 77. I loved this first chapter. I loved it when it was talking about Bellamy. When him and Luffy were having this fight and he was like, listen, this is my final fight. Strawhat, make it a good one. That character has had so much growth that it makes me want to go back to like Skypiea and kind of watch just his character and the growth that he's had in these two arcs that we've seen him in. Another two characters that I'm so excited that I feel like the fight is coming. It did not happen in this volume, but volume 78. Please, volume 78. I need this. Law and Doflamingo. And Law is so cool when he... when Doflamingo's like, you could have stopped all these tragedies. He was like, well, hey, so you're saying they are tragedies? And he's like, I see what you're doing there. Their back and forth is so good. And also who shined in the back half of this volume was Cavendish. With Hakabu coming out, I'm hoping they really expand on his character. Because I think that is so unique. And even when it's like half and half, literally that's the title of the chapter, but it shows like half his face, Hakabu, and the other half is Cavendish. And obviously, one of the highlights of the back half of this volume was Bartolomeo. He does barrier pistol. He is us. Like, I remember when he was first introduced, the comments in that video, you guys were like, he's like us. He is like us. He is a representation of us because he has been watching Luffy and he actually does barrier pistol. Oh! He is slowly becoming one of my favorite side characters that One Piece has ever done. He is so fun to read and to watch him in action. And the Titanian princess was finally saved because that was a really crazy thing that Jolie found out that her tears could heal people, so she was making her cry and like beating her up. Oh, it was a lot. But by far, the best part of this volume was the end. When Franky beat Senor Pink. And it actually goes into Senor Pink's backstory. And the reason that he dresses so funny is because Russian, their son died and she was brain dead. And him wearing those clothes made her smile. Again, I've said it 1,000 times in these videos. Leave it to Oda to make me care about a grown man with a bib and a pacifier. Oda, you never... How? How? I didn't see it coming. And I was reading that and I was like, I didn't like this character. I thought this character was dumb looking. And then I'm like, no, it somehow makes sense. Character with a bib and a pacifier. Of course it makes sense, Oda. Of course. Why would it not? But yeah, when Franky suplexes him and he realizes that his back is still human, one, it was a great action scene, and two, that whole chapter with Senor Pink's backstory, it was a perfect way to end off volume 77. He even says we can get a drink sometime and you can tell me about why you are crying. Two macho men with a tragic backstory. But yeah, that wraps up volume 77. Please, volume 78, give me Law versus Doflamingo. But yeah, that is the end of volume 77. Let's get to volume 78. And Law versus Doflamingo. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it. I haven't even read the volume yet. It's Law versus Doflamingo. Volume 78. Okay. Alright. Listen. Let's get this out of the way. Luffy got a new gear. Man, Gear 4 looks unique. I think it actually looks kind of cool, though, to be honest. But him and Doflamingo go at it in this volume. But before we get to that, I loved it. I loved volume 78. It feels like the end is near for this arc, and the action is incredible in this volume. The Luffy Doflamingo fight, Zoro, we'll get to it. But hey, we'll get to it. First off, this starts with Kyros and Rebecca, and their story has been my favorite in this arc. When Kyros talks about, Rebecca, you haven't dirtied your hands. Because even in the Colosseum, she never hurt anybody. Never. And he's like, you honored your mother's wishes. And he's fighting Diamante. And he stands up because Diamante, like, rains down a bunch of stuff. And when Kyros is standing there with his one leg and just hitting, he's like, you think this is pain? This is nothing like the pain of being forgotten by your loved ones. That really sums up his story. Because he is one of the best fighters that probably this city has ever seen. He's one of the strongest, bravest, courageous. But to go through the pain of your loved ones forgetting you, and finally having Rebecca remember him, he'll risk anything not for that to happen again. And I have to say, because I don't know how much more we'll see of them, because it does feel like this arc is winding down. But Kyros, if I have not said it enough in these last 2 or 3 videos, Kyros is something special. And he is a really, really, really well done character. Another character to get his moment is Zoro. When he's fighting Pika, and Pika's like this giant stone creature, and he's like, plan 1, do this, plan 2, do this, he's like, plan 5, I could fly through the air and cut him. He's like, yeah, let's go with that. And he slices him in half, his stone form, and finds his actual form there, and then cuts him down. Ooh! I think Zoro even says in this volume to Pika, like, your hockey's stronger than. But we get this flashback when he was training with Mihawk. Once again, I really want to know their training, and I'm guessing we're going to get it in flashbacks and not actually like a full chapter. I hope it is a full chapter, or 2 chapters, 3 chapters. I would read as many chapters of Zoro and Mihawk together as Oda wants to put out. But Mihawk tells him you can actually sharpen your blade and turn all your blades into black blades that can never get damaged or never chip. Zoro is very powerful right now, and he keeps the saying going that he can cut through anything. We haven't seen much of Zoro, especially in action this arc. A little bit here and there, but to finally see him get his moment, man, he can cut through anything. And Luffy actually has one final battle before he goes to Doflamingo, which is Bellamy. And the emotions in this fight, because think about this. Bellamy even says it. He's like, this is going to be my last fight. But at least give me the respect. Because he's like, I backed the wrong person. Like, I feel like he knows he backed the wrong person. Bellamy isn't such an interesting character. He knows he backed the wrong person. But he has to see that decision through to the very end. Like, see, if it was me, I'd be like, hey, this Doflamingo guy is not the person I thought he was. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna not have his back. But Bellamy is like, no. That's the type of character he is. I backed the wrong person, and I kind of deserve what I get. And really, I think Bellamy starts this fight with Luffy knowing that he wants to die. He wants Luffy to kill him. And it doesn't say it. It looks like he's knocked out, but by the end of it, when Luffy hits him down onto the ground and screams up at Doflamingo, he is mad now because he blames Doflamingo for all of this. Because he respects Bellamy. I think Luffy respects Bellamy at this point. And he is so mad that Doflamingo has twisted and controlled, like he's controlled this whole town as little puppets on a string, controlled Bellamy and pushed Bellamy to this point where he was willing to die for something he knew was not right. And boy, does Luffy come face to face with Doflamingo. We're getting closer to Gear 4, and it was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. It was so good. And we go back to the conclusion with Doflamingo and Law. And Doflamingo has a gun and just shoots Law. Just shoots him. Just shoots him. You're thinking, this man's killed Law. This guy, Doflamingo, has killed Law. And I was furious. I'm furious. I love Law. If I ever make a video of top One Piece characters, you best believe Law's gonna be high. He's gonna be high. Okay, back to volume 78. Law's great though, and he gets even better. He gets even better. So Doflamingo thinks he's killed Law. Luffy comes in and saves him with this hawking Gatling. Luffy mad. Luffy is mad. But what we don't see, this is what I'm saying. Law is always 3 steps ahead of everybody. He's had a room opened this whole time, and he's behind Luffy and being like, he's giving him all this like, hey, you know, doppelganger, and I'm not dead, and that was my clone, and I'm gonna use you as a shield. And he's gamma knifes Doflamingo 3 steps ahead of everybody at all times. And Doflamingo goes down, and I'm thinking, oh, Law, you got your justice. Here's the thing. Doflamingo has strings, so his strings are putting his organs back together. And he goes to stomp Law. Luffy stops him with his foot. That image, honestly, I'll probably use it as a thumbnail. There's a good chance, because just to see these 2 behemoths like stop each other's attack, and they're standing there, especially like Doflamingo's height difference from Luffy, it's just really well drawn, and I'm sure in the anime it also looked amazing. Here's the thing, I kind of feel bad for Doflamingo. I know, I am shocked as well. But here's why. The reason is Tribble actually, because there's a little bit of a backstory, and they drill into Doflamingo's head that he's a king, that he is can do the haki of the Supreme King. He's been chosen by the heavens, and they drilled it into him. And yes, Doflamingo had a horrible upbringing, and he is a bad guy. Do not get me wrong, he is a very bad guy. But if you have people around you that's drilling this thing into your head, you know, you're gonna be this, you're doing this, you know, anytime Doflamingo was like, oh, someone beat you up, and they just like lit the town on fire, it can kind of get into your brain, and you can buy into the praise or the things people are saying about you, and it can turn you into someone that maybe if you had someone else around you lifting you up or doing something, you could have been different. Doflamingo is still a bad guy, very much a bad guy, but you got to think about it like that. He was surrounded by people that did whatever he wanted them to do. And I think that affected his bad mental health more than other things too, but I think that played a part into making him who he was at that moment. But Tribble gets his because Law tricks him, pops off his own arm, and cuts him down. And Tribble has put glue everywhere, and there's an explosion. Law flies off the building. Doflamingo actually stops him with his strings, but Cabbage comes through, cuts it down, so everyone's off the building. It's Luffy versus Doflamingo, and Luffy looks up at Doflamingo and is mad. And now, let's get into Gear 4. We're going Gear 4! Oh, it's so good. So everyone is off the building, and Luffy is yelling down, get everybody out of here, Cabbage. I need you. And he's like, he needs me. He needs me. That means that he trusts me. That means that he likes me. That means he's a fan. I can't let down a fan's request. But Law actually tells him, like, no, I got him into this fight. And Nico Robin's quick to say, oh, he's the captain. He doesn't get into a fight unless he wants to be in this fight. Law said he's waited 13 years. He's not going anywhere. If Luffy doesn't beat Doflamingo, I die with Luffy. And Cabbage surprisingly said, well, Nico Robin, get the rest of them out of here. And he sits down next to Law and says, if you're going to die, I'm going first. It was a really sweet moment from Cavendish. Put some respect on the name. I just wasn't expecting it from that character to be like, yeah, you're okay. Well, I'm going first for you, so. Oda, the way you do character is something real special. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 times more before this series is over with. I guarantee it. But now, Gear 4. Now, he's a big hulking thing with haki all over his body, and it's basically saying that the haki and the air and the rubber are making him durable and giving him size, because Luffy actually explains the reason that he goes so big. Because he was fighting animals for 2 years that were big as monsters, and he needed size and power and speed and durability. So it looks a little goofy, but I feel like there is a reason, like, and Luffy actually gives a pretty good reason as to why he looks the way he looks. And in Gear 4, he is pounding Doflamingo, just wrecking him. But the problem with any new form, and Shonens do this all the time, there's a time limit, and Luffy is feeling it. He has a certain amount of time to do what he has to do to take down Doflamingo, because if not, the ability will run out, and Doflamingo will, it'll be bad. And as Luffy and Doflamingo are having their fight, the net that has gone around the town is closing in and shredding everything as it's closing in, so everyone's running towards the center. And everyone's freaking out, and pure chaos is taking over the town. Actually, King Riku makes an announcement. He says, the Strawhat is fighting, you just have to survive. And all the townspeople hear his voice, and this is, I think, one of the first times that King Riku has said, you know, I'm still here, I still want what's best for my people. And Doflamingo has tricked everybody, and all his lieutenants and everybody's down. It's just Doflamingo versus Luffy. Just survive, and we can make it through this. And Oda did this really smart thing. That there was this older granny that fell, and her granddaughter's like yelling for help, and the hospital's yelling for help. And when the granny hears the voice of the old king, she gets up and takes off running. And it was a really good moment, especially a good moment to end this volume, of the old king finally talking to his people and giving them hope after they have lived. And he even says that you've lived these last 10 years controlled like a puppet. Doflamingo's been pulling the strings, which is great that his devil fruit power is strings. Like, it's a genius way to have his story and what he's done to people personified in his devil fruit power with the strings. A plus. But yeah, that is where we leave off on volume 78. Volume 79, it's got to be Gear 4 versus Doflamingo. We are closing in on the end of this arc. And as always, Oda, when you do action and when you do the culmination final battles, it's always some of the best part of One Piece. Let me tell you, volume 79. Volume 79. This volume starts, we think Doflamingo's been defeated, and Luffy goes for one more hit, but he runs out of power. It always happens, I feel like, in Shonens. Like, they're about to beat him, and he runs out of power. But actually, the way Oda did this was really well done for doing that trope in Shonen. Because the announcer runs over to him, and Luffy tells him, I just need 10 minutes. Like, give me 10 minutes, and I can recoup, and I can beat him. One hit KO. Guaranteed. Luffy's not messing around. He's very serious. He's like, hey, one hit KO, I'm in there. But when the announcer is, like, trying to take Luffy off, Jesus Burgess tries to attack him, but Sabo stops him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know this is what he's here for, but it's working so well with me. He is absolutely giving off that ace vibe. And his backstory, because we actually get his backstory towards the end of this volume. I want to talk about emotion. The end of this volume. Like, it was a 1-2 punch of emotions, to be honest. I was surprised by that. So Sabo is taking on Burgess as the bird cage is slowly getting to the center of town. It has 3 minutes to get to the center of town. Luffy needs 4 minutes to recover. The countdown. Talk about, like, because you know it's going to work out. Obviously, there's like minimum 30 more volumes of One Piece probably coming out. Way more than that. 30 is undershooting it, I know. But still, the way Oda did it, that by the time the countdown hits 0, oh, The hype buildup was incredible in this volume. And so Zoro and all the gladiators that had turned on Luffy earlier go to like repent and be like, we tried to turn on you and that was us, that was our bad, but we're here for you. And the princess actually cries tears and heals all the sick for a limited amount of time. So everyone, Zoro, everybody is against this birdcage, pushing it, trying to slow it down so Luffy can recover. And Law is watching over Luffy as he's getting closer and closer to being able to recover. Everyone is trying to stop this birdcage from reaching the center of town. And it's this countdown that is beginning. And King Riku does a speech and says, you know, this is the king. We're going to beat this. Our savior, Lucy. It's hilarious that they still call him Lucy. He's our savior. He promises a one-hit KO. We're going to do this. We're going to get through it. Everyone just needs to band together and last as long as possible. And during this, Viola actually appears in front of Doflamingo, and her speech of, well, the Doflamingo family is getting decimated and getting destroyed. It would be a pity if I could walk away, having been an officer. And then Doflamingo strings Rebecca into attacking her. Rebecca cannot catch a break in this arc at all. She has been through so much. She's finally got her father back after him being taken away. The Viola stuff, it's just, Rebecca, I'm so sorry. And you can see like the tears in her eye, and she's like, I can't control myself. He has control over me. And even Viola's like, I don't blame you. Don't look, close your eyes. I'm not going to blame you for this. You can't do anything about it. And Doflamingo, I don't like you. I like your character. You're a great villain character, but you as a person, I don't like. I don't like it at all. Because it's still 1 minute for Luffy to recover. And all of this is going on. The birdcage is getting closer to the center of town. Rebecca is going to cut down Viola, and the countdown begins. Man, so they start counting down 10. You know, and the sick that the princess was healing, her tears are wearing off and they're falling down. And Zoro is kind of trying his best to keep the center of town safe. 9, 8, 7. Luffy is with Law. Everyone is just trying to hold on for just a few more moments. And Luffy is stumbling to his legs. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Luffy breaks Rebecca's sword, saving Viola and Rebecca. And there's a panel. It's just like a very small panel. And Law's like, go. And Luffy looks up. I loved it. Oh, when Luffy looks up and Law's like, go. One shot. One hit KO, he promises. And boy. Boy. Does he deliver? Gum Gum King Kong. Gum Gum King Kong. This attack takes up a whole page in the manga. Gum Gum King Kong. Man, the art, the build-up, everything was perfect for this attack. I felt it. I felt like I got hit by King Kong. He lays Doflamingo out. And obviously he's used up all his power, all his rage in one hit. And he falls to the ground. Oh, man! Just the build-up to that final punch was some of the best that I've seen One Piece do in all of the arcs that I've read. Almost 80 volumes. And that is by far the best build-up. And just that hit. You felt it. I'm sure when you watched the anime, it was as good, if not better, with the voice acting. And I'm sure there was some amazing music. But I felt it. Gum Gum King Kong. Oof! Oof! Yes. And then after this amazing action, the emotions that you feel, because the announcer can't even announce that, you know, Luffy has won, or Lucy has won. He starts tearing up. Everybody in the town is tearing up because this 10 years, a decade of being oppressed by this Doflamingo is gone. You feel that. I felt that in this chapter. And like I said, there were parts that I didn't love about Dressrosa, because I definitely feel like, obviously, we're nearing the end. I think I have 5 more chapters after this. The chapter 801 is when I'm going to stop, when I was told to stop. So we are closing in on Dressrosa, the end of it. And just that emotion of oppression that these people have felt, and to be free of that, really came across in this chapter. Everyone's just in disbelief, and the excitement and the disbelief and the happiness, and it all is boiling up between all of these citizens of this town and all the characters we've met along the way. The Kyros, the Rebeccas, the King Riku, like all of these characters are finally free. And King Riku can kind of take his place on the throne, even though he doesn't want to. And everyone's like, you are the king that we're looking for. And he looks he looks at Rebecca, he's like, hey, you know, if I'm king, you get to be a princess. Rebecca finally can catch a break, because out of all of the characters of this arc, kind of like the side characters, she has had it the hardest by far. By far the hardest. And another very Ace move that Sabo does. And even says, like, that was from Ace. Burgess, after all Doflamingo's being defeated, and Sabo kind of leaves Burgess. He's like, I beat you. I'm not going to, you know, hurt you. Burgess just won't let it go. And he's picking at him about Ace and picking at him about Ace. And he fire fist Burgess into oblivion. Oh, felt good. It felt very, very good. And I think he even says, like, that was from Ace. Yeah, Ace couldn't let it go. He is definitely giving off the new, like, Ace vibes. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Another very interesting thing that I really enjoyed. Fujitora. There's a video snail transponding to everyone, kind of showing them what's going on in Dressrosa. And he bows down to the king and says, this was the world government's fault. It's being broadcast to everyone. The world government, the Navy, everyone is seeing it. And he has the bravery to say, we let this happen. We let this man control this territory for a decade. And we actually have a cut to Smoker, and you can tell that. And even Tashigi says, that's how you felt about Alabasta. He's righting a wrong that Smoker felt in Alabasta, because that's what he wanted to do, because it was the Navy, the world government's fault. That was it's a very quick few, like, 1 page, but man, it adds a lot to Smoker's character and Fujitora, and kind of this idea that the world government and the Navy is kind of controlling everything. And I really enjoyed that, like, little 1 page. I was like, oh, that's very smart. That's a very smart thing to do. Another chapter we get is kind of what everyone's been up to as all this Dressrosa stuff was going on. Kind of like the world government being like, I cannot believe Fujitora said it was our fault, and all of that. And one of the most interesting things is Kid. You know, it's Kid, Killer, and a few other of the worst generations that have kind of banded together and did their own alliance, because Law and Luffy have this alliance. And Kid says, well, they wanted Kaido, I think. But we're going for a different emperor. They're going for Shanks. Oh, boy. Listen, more Shanks? I'm for it. I'm always for... You want to add more Shanks to One Piece? Thumbs up. Double thumbs up. I'm ready. Unlike when I was not ready, Sabo's backstory, my God. Okay, I know I've been saying, like, oh, he's giving me Ace vibes. He's really giving me Ace vibes. And when he leaves, even... I think it's Zoro that's like... He even sounds like Ace. He really is, like, kind of... Not taking his place. No one will ever take his place. But he's Luffy's only brother left. And his backstory is tragic. So the accident when he set sail when he's younger, he's saved by Dragon. And he's kind of brought up in the Resistance. But he's lost his memory. That's what we find out. And he actually only gets it back when he sees the story about Ace. And the moment his brain breaks and everything kind of floods back there, like you've been asleep for 3 days and everything's flooding back to him. Because the only thing he could remember was, I don't want to go back to my parents when he was younger. And to see it all, you know, the cups, the brother cups. Oh, to see it all come flooding back when he sees that article. It was just so well done, and he kind of leaves as Luffy's life paper. He takes a little piece and kind of gives it to Zoro. When do you even have this made? He's like, oh, I know people. But he takes a little piece to always know that Luffy is okay. Because he was not there for Ace. He will always be there for Luffy. Man, I think Oda has a very strong way of doing these brother characters. These three brothers, Luffy, Sabo, and Ace. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I want more Sabo. I wanted more Ace. We know how that ended. Didn't end great. Getting through it. We're working through it. And I know, listen, I know what you're saying. It's just a rebound. It's not a rebound. Sabo is his own character. He's very unique. Ace's power goes very well for him, though. But I am really enjoying Sabo. Just, all three brothers are fun. They're fun for having grown up the way they did. That's what I'm kind of learning is, I think they have to be fun because if they let their past and the darkness and all that eat them up, they'll be miserable characters and people and human beings. And that's why they're so fun loving. I truthfully believe that. And the more I'm learning about Sabo and in turn learning about Ace, that's what I'm really getting out of their whole dynamic and relationship. And the final chapter, we finally get to see kind of what Sanji, Nami, Chopper, Brook have all been up to. Momo. Because the crazy thing is all this stuff was happening. I forgot that half of the Straw Hats were nowhere to be seen. It was shocking. I was like, oh, right. There's a few more of you. Because Dressrosa had so many things going on, I completely forgot. Especially during these last handful of volumes of just like, oh, right. Yeah. There's more of you. But the main takeaway, because all of a sudden a giant hole appears because he sees something crash. And listen, man. So, Kaido, well, he loves certain things. And likes testing the limit, we'll say, for YouTube's sake. And he jumps off of Skypiea. And he gets out of that hole and is looking at all of the Sanji, Nami, and he's huge. He is big, huge, massive, gigantic. He is King Kong. Luffy is gonna need King Kong. Oof. And that's kind of how we leave this volume, is he gets out of that hole and he is looking down on them. And it is just this massive, well, he is big. He is huge. Oh, man. Kaido's going to be fun. I already am going to tell you that right now. But yeah, that is where we leave off of volume 79. To me, this was kind of the end of Dressrosa. I know there's like 5 more chapters, you guys are saying. Chapter 801 is what we're going to. So I'm going to go read those 5 chapters and I'll be right back to kind of finish up this video. But, man, a little quick. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Kaido is huge. Volume 80. Still crazy. We're at volume 80. But I read to chapter 801, which is the end of the Dressrosa arc. And what an end. The military, like Sengoku, has showed up to take the Straw Hats in. And they actually run into Fujitora, who's been rolling a dice to decide if he's going to capture Straw Hat Luffy. He's like, well, it's day 3, so let's see what Lady Luck does. And it actually rolls to capture Straw Hat Luffy. And there's a really great image of Luffy awake, asleep, mad, because he's mad that Kyros has made up this lie so that Rebecca can become the princess. Because even, especially at the end of this arc now, everyone realized what I realized. Rebecca had it the worst. She has had a miserable time. She's finally caught a break. So all the Straw Hats head to the east, but Luffy's like, I got something to do. And he's going to break out Rebecca. Well, to ask Rebecca if she's okay with Kyro's lying about it. And she's not. She gets these tears in her eyes, and she talks about she wants to be the daughter of Kyro. So Luffy breaks her out. Now everyone's like, I thought this is what we get for trusting a pirate. And then even Summer's like, but I still love you. Like, you still saved us. So now the townsfolk and the Navy are all after the Strawhats, and they're running to get to the ships to basically get to Zhao and get off the island. But as they're going, they also realize that Law's not there. And Law and Sengoku have this amazing conversation that hints at a lot of things. It hints at the D. Okay. Phrasing could be better. But they have this conversation about Corazon and how they both cared about him. And they kind of end the conversation with Rengoku being like, you know, he wanted you to live free. And they don't like each other, but they both loved Corazon. And it's kind of good that Oda put this in here to humanize the Navy and the Marines. And he also humanizes Fujitora, because Fujitora gathers all this rubble as Law's getting to the ship, Luffy is running to get to the ship, and it's all the rubble of the battle towering in the sky. And another great little bit of fight scene. Luffy calls out his attack as he's fighting Fujitora, because he's like, you know, we're just going to have to battle it right here, right now. Fujitora's like, why are you telling me your attacks? He was like, listen, you're blind. And we come to find out, Fujitora blinded himself. That was crazy. And he even gets mad towards the end. He's like, I wish I could see you, Luffy. Like, what color's your hair? What shape are your eyes? Because even though they are on opposite ends, and I think Luffy does this great, and Oda tells this great, because especially when we end an arc, Luffy has that ability to, it doesn't really matter what side you're on, you're drawn to him. Which is how we end this arc and these chapters. So you know how I said people are drawn to Luffy? Cavendish has a crew, Bartolomeo has a crew, Leo has a crew, there's a few other crews of people that he has come in contact with. 5,600 strong, and they want him to do the father-son ritual. They want to fly under the banner of Straw Hat Luffy. I knew this was coming. Not this, obviously not this exact thing, but I felt it's been 80 volumes, and Luffy hasn't built up a crew. And to become King of the Pirates, everyone thinks you need that power. Even I thought that, and then when Luffy said, I don't want to do it. First off, I don't really like alcohol. Second off, seems like a lot of responsibility. I just want you to do your own thing. I'm going to do my own thing. If you're ever in trouble, yell for me. We'll be there. If I'm ever in trouble, I'll yell out for you. Hopefully you can get there. And Bartolomeo is like, it's not about power. He wants to be king of the pirates, and that means he wants to be free. They do the sun ritual anyway. And Bartolomeo has this speech and just talks about, you know, we owe you a debt. We respect you. We want you to be our boss, and we want to fly under your banner. And anything you need, we will risk our lives to get there to help you. And this is where it gets interesting. And Oda hardly ever does this, but towards the end he starts doing it. Like towards the end of arcs, I've noticed he started doing it. He says that this crew, not right now, a story that has not been told yet, will grow in power and cause, it was like damage or power that the pirate world has ever seen. I feel like he's gearing up for an epic, incredible battle with Luffy building up his forces. That's exciting. That is very exciting. And we also see that Doflamingo is alive and in jail. So he's like, am I going to Enos Lobby? At least get me a subscription to the Daily Mail. Because again, the power of D, or the people of D. The D was mentioned. The D was definitely mentioned. What is going on with that? I want to know so bad. But he also says that a great battle is coming. So like I said, they're gearing up for something. I don't know if it's like down the line or the next arc. A battle between these 5,600 men that want to fight under Luffy. Maybe more by the time the battle gets here. But the Straw Hats are going to be up against something massive and huge.
Something is there. And we also get a hint of like this shifty dark figure, and I think they're going to try to break Doflamingo out of the ships that are transferring him to, I'm guessing, Enies Lobby. So not the last time we see Doflamingo, maybe. I hope not. He's a great villain. He's a great villain. This whole arc has shown that he is a perfect type of villain. Great backstory, great characterizations for a villain. So I'm kind of glad that Oda's putting out that hope of like, you're not the last you're seeing of it. There's gonna be more. And then what we end on is, first off, Bartolomeo's ship, all Luffy. It's incredible. It is incredible, and they're all kind of like him. But he shows that he's framed up all their bounties except for Law. It's 500 million. He doesn't care. But all their bounties have increased. Usopp got all the way to 200 million bounties. Luffy is at 500. Zoro's at 320. And Chopper at 100 berries. So, you know, he doubled. It's good. 50%, doubled it. You doubled it 100%, 200%. But what we are left with at the end of this chapter is one of the bounties is different. Sanji's is not a sketch anymore. That incredible sketch. But he is the one that says he needs to be captured alive. I am all for a Sanji-centric story coming up. Not a long one, but it would be nice if it's just kind of like a little short one. You know what I mean? Again, I really like Sanji, and we didn't see him much in this arc, so I'm glad that they're setting something up with Black Leg Sanji. Like, that gets me very excited for the arc to come. And that is how we end this chapter, this arc, and this video. To basically sum up what I thought, Dressrosa had one of the best villains in Doflamingo. He is one of the most interesting. Rebecca and Kyros, to see them hold hands at the very end. She goes, I have a warm hand, don't I? He's like, yes. This is one of those arcs. Fishman Island arc, in most recent memory of how we've been reading these, sticks out in my head. But this is one of those arcs where the side characters, I felt like, sold it. I do feel like a lot of the side... Bartolomeo, Cavendish... They had such interesting side characters and such an interesting villain. That, yes, like, Luffy got a power-up. Of course this arc's going to be amazing. Gum Gum King Kong, Gear 4... Of course! Like, of course that's going to be amazing. But the action and the Straw Hats are always amazing. That's why we follow One Piece for as long as we've been following them, and I will follow them until there's no more to follow. Until the end of the line, the grand line. There's no more to follow, I will follow them, of course. But with a long-running series like this, I think you need interesting side characters, especially in One Piece when you're going to different islands and there's so many side characters, and a very good villain to make an arc worth reading or watching, and I think Dressrosa has that. Now again, the Titanians, I'm a little wrote about them personally, but Cavendish, Bartolomeo, the Gladiator stuff, the Rebecca and Kyros story is, for side stories, there might be a separate video about it. It's up there for me. I really enjoyed those two characters and their story. But as always, One Piece is incredibly fun, and it set up a bunch of stuff. Doflamingo could break out. Kaido is massive. What's been going on with Nami, Sanji, what's going on with them right now, and then the Sanji stuff that they set up. I think they have set up enough breadcrumbs. Big Mom was in the picture. We haven't heard nothing about that. There's so many questions, and I think that's what makes a great arc. You tell a great story and leave breadcrumbs for what's to come. What's this hinting at of the worst generation, this greatest war is coming that's going to uphinge the pirates. Oda is building up to something. I know, shocker. Oda's always building up to something, so it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I got it. He's always building up to something. But yeah, that is it for this One Piece video. We finished Dressrosa. This was a long one. I think it ended up being like 3 videos. And as always, I just want to thank you guys so much for following my journey through One Piece. Thanks for talking with me in the comments and being so excited for me to get to certain points that you guys really like. My One Piece journey would be amazing, but with you guys, it's incredible, and it's one of my favorite things to do. And I'm just so happy that you guys like it and enjoy it. And it means a lot to me, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for continuing to watch, and hopefully I'm somewhat entertaining. Maybe. Probably not. I could be. I try. you know? But yes, on to the next arc. Also, let me know in the comments down below what chapters of the next arc. That really helps me out. So I don't have to, like, get spoiled. Thank you. I'll see you next time.